Hello again. This is the Waterman, Spiritual Toolbox number 49, the Love chapter number 25, audio recording number 367, examination table number 30. Okay, I'll continue in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. Okay, start out again, reading it from the King James Version. Okay. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up. Okay? Now, we left off, is, in the word is kind. I'll chased it down some. We're going to continue in that word, okay? So I'm going to go back to at the beginning of that word, and that is that they translate as is kind, okay? And that's that word 5541, CHRESTEUOMAI. It's pronounced this way again.
Strong's G 5541. Christuomai. Christuomai.
Okay. Now, that word comes down, the etymology, the root word, chasing it back in the thought processes so I can show you this picture. Okay. 5543. Let me look and make sure I kind of follow my notes in on here. Okay. 5543. That's CHRESTOS, this word.
Strong's G 5543. Christos. Christos.
Okay, I've covered those. And now that word comes from, in the root etymology of this word, 5530. And it's this word. It's CHRAOMAI. It's this word.
Strong's G 5530. Chraamai. Chraamai.
Okay. And now that word goes on down to it's the middle voice of a primary verb, perhaps rather from 5495 to handle. Okay. Now, I left off in 5530. Okay, that's where we're at. That's a verb, and it's to receive a loan, to borrow. What you're doing is you're borrowing that love that God has that's beyond words. You're existing in that as you're coming through the eye of the needle. From all of that fleshly, poopy thinking, your own righteousness, your own right-mindedness, that's yuck, bullcrap thinking, coming through that. From out of, to, towards, and into, and en, resting in God, I am, that's en, and in union with God, SYN. You're coming back out of that crap, thinking in each and every smallest detail of your thinking process. But you gotta do that in hot pursuit. No holds barred, full steam ahead, baby. March. Live it. Exist it. Habitually practice. Whatever you've seen, heard, and tasted, all this stuff in your in God, to do that. Habitually practice. Like in Philippians chapter 4, verse 9, okay? Read, study that. I've given you a little bit of tools on that already. Go look at that. That do is prosu. Look at that. Okay? Okay. Now then this correction process, if you view it with the mind of God, you'll view it as this is just necessary. These hardships, pressures, calamities, fiery trials, stuff, being in the lion's den, facing Goliath, that Goliath thinking, being in the fiery trials, heated up 5 times as hot, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Being on that ship with all them storms hitting that wooden ship, your own humanistic thinking, your own mind. Just like Jesus did, come up there and say, man, put a sock in it, put a muzzle on it, be still. Okay, and all that winds, waves, all that barking dog, hee-hawing donkey, that messed up parakeet, that turkey thinking, that beast nature, be still. Right? Shut up, you old dog. Okay? I'm going right back into God. I'm exist, and it's increasing 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, or to 4 to 8 to 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512. Boom, boom, boom. Pretty soon it's getting up there, and you're returning. You're getting back to this universe size thinking process that God's going, that universe size, a hair thinking, and then expand that out, and you're looking down in there all the way down to a hair size, that's a plank length size, that's a seed of Christ within you, that still small voice crying out in the midst of all this roaring, nasty, crap, and poopy thinking. If God gives you the ears, the spiritual seeing, hearing, taste, touch, or smell, you're borrowing that to hear this. Pay attention. Hearken. Red alert. Beep, 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 beep. Pay attention to it. Obey, obey, obey. Be obedient to God. Pursue that in hot pursuit. Or give in, cave in to all these pressures, all this loud, rah, 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 this guarded thing like in Nineveh thinking, like in Jonah, the book of Jonah. There's a whole lot. It's only 4 little chapters, but man, there's a lot in that bad boy. I may teach that a little bit later. Oh, it's hard telling how many videos I make on that. Oh, how many God will have me do? The audio recordings and that it's probably going to be deeper than that. It was like probably 100 or more, and those were 2 and 3 hours long, and over 3 hours. 3.5 hours closer. I mean, I had to eat during it. I mean, I don't know how long. Okay? God's showing us. Bring this out. Okay? Now, don't trust in your own wrong poop thinking that righteousness is this bullshit. It's worthless and detestable. Ooh, yuck. I do that to start you up. Oh, man. So you can remember it. That's what it is. It's like the Apostle Paul. I know I've said it many times before, but it's like the Apostle Paul said in Philippians chapter 3, verse 8. I count all things as dung, poop, bullshit, scat. It's all this excrement from this animal thinking. Yeah, this beast nature. 666 on your forehead, 666 in your hand. Your work's your effort from this old thinking process of yours. Bullshit thinking. It's worthless and detestable. Okay? Examine it with God's microscope. All the way down to that plank size. Okay? And beyond. Hear that voice. See, hear, taste, touch, and smell. Don't be married like that woman at the well. Was married to them 5 senses. We're seeing, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. She had that eye in the like she's, man, you're tied to that stuff. Don't stay tied to that stuff. Divorce that crap. In each and every area of your thinking processes, when God's dealing with you, with these calamities and all this stuff, fire trials stuff coming up against you, don't go, oh, I'm dying, my ship is sinking. No, look, wait, listen, do I hear? Can't please help me to hear what you're trying to tell me, Father. Seek you first, in time, place, and order of importance, the kingdom of God, the ruling realm of God, and the ability to bring you back into that great love, that love beyond words of God. Borrow that from God. So it's bringing you back in so that when you get in this area of your thinking process, you're resting in God, and you're SYN, you're in union with God, and it's becoming my gospel now. My good news of reconciliation in this area of my thinking process. It's permanently fixed. It's welded by God. It's held tighter than the strong forces hold the nucleus, in the atom, the protons and neutrons in the nucleus of an atom, and down even smaller than that into the quarks, and on down to a Planck size and beyond. When the laws of physics is all breaking down, God's holding you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not upon your own understanding, and God will direct your path. See, in this world, this orderly arrangement in your mind, there must be tribulation, pressure, thalipsis. But be of good cheer, for God, has overcome this worldly thinking process. He's given you a way to get through it. He's just increasing that stuff so that you'll give up on that old stinking thinking process and and proceed. Don't turn back like Lot's wife. Turn back that Sodom and Gomorrah thinking, that burnt and kind of ashes, but it's that ruin, poop thinking. Ooh, Gomorrah, I can break that down. I might do it later on for you. It takes a lot. Just don't skim the surface. Man, get down in there and dig. Look. Where you at, seed, within that little hair that's the size of a universe? Shut all that dog thinking up so you can hear that stinking, or that right-mindedness of God. Shut all that stinking thinking up so you can hear that precise, correct knowledge of God from that still small voice. And then God will increase it. He'll cut out some of that dark thinking, that ignorance of his ways, that ignorance of that love beyond words of God, so then replace it, transform it, bring you back into existence, rebirth you. You must be born again, back in and in union with God in your mind. Not just this water baptism stuff, which is based upon your works, your efforts. A one-time thing and I'll just tiptoe through the tulips. No. You habitually practice it, and it's that baptismo where the Holy Spirit, the purifying Spirit of God, is baptizing you, immersing you in this bitter, sour vinegar solution, changing that cucumber thinking process back into the pickle, the right-mindedness of God. And it's taking you down in there, thrashing you. Don't let it become bitter. It's a long way to go through that eye of the needle. But God take you through there. It's double, right? And boy, after a while, it gets big. A legion is only 4,000 to 6,400. It goes beyond that, man, very quickly. And you can fall and make that poop thinking a legion in you a lot harder to get out. Down in that cave of that poop thinking. Or you can go into Christ and keep going and go all the way back in, and S-Y-N. God's right-mindedness, resting in God. Be like Jesus, sleeping in the belly, in the innermost beings of that ship, resting in God. Jesus Christ, Yahweh is salvation through the Christ, through the anointing of God. He's showing you. He's the pattern son. He's showing you the way, the truth, and the life. Back to the Father, back in the Father. Yeah, oh my goodness. Back in union with him, okay? Now, let's continue in this word. We're in that, we've chased down that one that they translated as is kind, and we've traced it down so far. We're down into, 55:30. Okay, where God's doing this correction, okay? All right? Don't look at it like it's, oh, this is so hard and this is to me. Because then you're kind of looking back. Like Lot's wife. Be careful. Don't want to go around that mountain again. Don't want to go in that poop slick of your own righteousness. Ooh, yuck. Okay? You got to go into God emphatically. In hot pursuit. All you got. Hang on. Because God's righteousness is pulling you through this. Okay? Now, one sees all this stuff as, so I got down here some notes. It said, on this one, after I got the other ones on the other, I kind of explained a little bit there. Then you can also see it like it's to me, or this is too bitter for me. This is, after all, God sees and understands one's thinking processes all the way down to the tiniest part. It's like less than or equal to that plank length size thought process. It's like that 1e to the negative 35. Or like that hair, expand that hair, okay? All right, whichever way you can understand it the best. Okay? Is anyone else able to see or understand? Take that magnifying glass to that microscope and see that far down inside your thinking processes. Dealing with each and every area, each and every thought process that good, that much, that understand it that well. No. They're able to see or understand one's own thought processes, even remotely close to the examination of God. This not may prove, this dokimazo. Lay it out there and examine it. Prove it to yourself. Come through that eye of the needle to where it's your gospel, your good news, that you can, oh my goodness, you got it. God's holding. It's permanently fixed. Welded in God. Held tighter than that strong nuclear force holds those protons and neutrons in the center of an atom. And you go down in farther, all the way down to nothing escapes God. Okay? And then all this, remember, God loves us beyond words, beyond the description of mere words. Okay? Do we believe this or not? See, in Romans 8:28, it says God calls us all things, pos. The whole thing, everything, all your thought process, everything happening, inside, outside, everything. There is no exceptions. God causes all things to work together for good. To those who love God, love Him. To those who are the called, to ones He's called out. And that's inside you, that's His person, and whatever. Okay? It's every little bit, all the way down to the minutest plank-sized thought process, all that. God is doing it. Doesn't matter if you understand it or not. The only thing is if you can understand it, you hear that still small voice, man, pursue that thing. That's the only way you get out of it. Okay? Now, Romans 8:28, let's get back. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to them that love God, to those who are the called according to His purpose. For whom He did foreknow, He did predestinate, conformed. That to be is not there. That's italicized. That's added by the translators. Bullcrap. Okay, it's putting it out there to where you don't deal with it now. No. God's dealing right in here, all the way down to plank size, all the way up. That influence in your heart, in your mind, in them think process, all the way down to the plank size, all the way out. God gives the increase, growing it back into His right-mindedness. Not your old poopy thinking right-mindedness. It's filthy stinking rags. Check out and study. I've said it many times. Isaiah 64:6 and Isaiah 30, verse 19 through 22. Just a couple places, okay? All right, now on this. Let's back up just a little bit. We're chasing this down the etymology of this, the root of this, down, looking like down deeper, with a little bit more magnifying glass. Okay? Whew. Okay, that 5543 is going down to 5530, and that's this word.
Strong's J 5530. Hra'amai. Hra'amai.
Okay, and that's a verb, okay? And now that word is the middle voice of the primary verb, perhaps rather from 5495, and then it's like to handle. I'll get there in a minute. Okay? Now, this 5530 is like to receive a loan. This loan of God's love beyond words. He's pulling you out. You're hanging on to His hand, His efforts, God's love beyond words. If you're holding on the best you can, all you can, God won't put more on you than you can handle. But boy, you got to hang on with all you got in hot pursuit to be able to be pulled out of this, or you're going to subside in a way. But if you hang on in hot pursuit, boom, He's pulling you right out of that stuff. Because all that stinking stuff there is just like those ites in Deuteronomy 7:1. Those, all that stuff, Girgashite and Amorite and Perizzite and Jebusite, all those things, those 7 ites. They're mightier, greater than you. It's that poop thinking. Yuck, there's the giants in your land. Rawr, rawr, okay? All this stuff growling at you, and you're trying to listen to this still small voice. Sock time. Bam, corn duct tape. Okay? Shut up, you daggone sucker. Right? Be still. Right? And some of these things are very hard. They're mightier and powerful. You can't get out of it no other way. You gotta go to God. In God's precise, correct timing, right in that eye of the tornado in the storm. Pursue Him in hot pursuit. That's your only hope. God, Yahweh, is your salvation, is your deliverance. Hold on, baby. Okay? I'm trying to make it memorable. So she goes, wow, man, he was acting nuts. I'm not nuts. But I'm crazy about God, okay? This is God. You got to be emphatic. Going into it, man, pressing in hot pursuit. To get out of this shit stinking. Okay? Now, so it's 5530, okay? It's to receive a loan, to borrow, to take for one's use, to use, to make use of a thing, to make use of this love beyond words that God's bringing you out. Hang on to it, baby. Okay? And it's another way, if you get on down in these other ones, the Strongs and the Thayers, you'll find out here, down in there, it's like to furnish what is needed and need God's love. Because this conditional love won't cut the mustard. God's love beyond words, the only thing that can cut the mustard. You got to borrow that thing, man. Get all of it. Oh, to pull you from out of, to, towards, and into, and en, and syn. God. All that's meta in the midst of that, in the middle of you. I'm coming back to you, God. I'm returning to home. Okay? To the right-mindedness of God. You got to hold on, baby, for dear life, to act towards one in a given manner. I think that's in the, hang on just a little bit, just so, I'm pretty sure, let's see. There's all kind of, it's speaking all about this in the Thayers, and let's see, that's, yeah, right here, in the Strongs, to act towards one in a given manner, okay? It's to be employed by God. God's You're working your way back to God, but you're doing it with God's doing it. You're just agree. Double in God. Right? All right. Now, to take for one's use. See, you're using that love that's beyond words. See, that child that God is not incompleted. You're using that through all these storms of life to acquire this, to come to a higher level in God. Come up higher, my child. Be reasonable. See it my way. You're coming back so you can recharm at different levels, different orders, different degrees of that love in each and every thought process. You're coming back so you can recharm, complete that love in God. God loved us first, beyond words. And we're going to come back so we can love him closer and closer and closer to that love beyond words in each and every area of our thinking processes. Okay? I'm describing this. I'm showing you. Trying to. And you're receiving alone that love of God. Okay? And this is to act in God's love beyond words. To action. This in hot pursuit. Okay? Trying to bring it out so you can understand that. And as I look at this and I review these and go over this more and more, it becomes like packed down. So I can run or I can live it out. I can go farther and farther and deeper and deeper. And then I'm asking God to increase my love, his love, and his light, his enlightenment in me, and help me to articulate this out. Let his will be done, not my will be done. Okay, let's go on. Now, this word says that 5530 is a middle voice of a primary verb, perhaps rather from 5495. It's to handle, okay? Now let's get down to that word. CHEIR, it's this word.
Toolbox J 5495.
Higher, or something like that. Feminine noun, okay? Okay, and let's see. Oh, I didn't get all this other here, but you kind of got the idea on that other one. I'll probably try to skip over that. If you need me to, I can go in and read them notes later. I have them here. I'm keeping them. I'm just putting them in stacks of notebooks that I'm going through, okay? All right. And 5495, that's higher. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. And the root etymology of that word, it says, perhaps from the base of 5494, in the case of the cogenitor, the base of 5490, through the idea of the hollowness of grasping, just like you're grasping God's hand, that love, his efforts, his great ability, that he could expand that hair length up to the size of the universe and look down at that. And then even beyond that seed. You're grabbing on and listen. Man, hold on. Let's take me all this stuff. Oh, right? Yes, sir, Daddy. Let's chop this stuff out. Let's get her to the root of the problem. That old nasty carnal mind, that non-spiritual thinking process, that poopy thinking, get out. Beat it. Just beat it. Ow! Go on ahead and get out of here. I don't have to listen to what you say. I don't really care what's good or bad. What that thing says is good or bad. It's just a roaring bunch of bullshit. So beat it. Because you're not God, you're man. Put a sock in that thing and wrap a duct tape around it and shut that thing up. So I can hear that still small voice of that seed, that plankly-sized seed. Right? In the natural, there's a bunch of noises go around. You can't hardly hear somebody that's talking real low, can you? You shut all of them up, and you can hear, I can hear you if I'm real quiet. Maybe even have to like hold my breath a little bit or breathe real lightly so I can hear you. Not big. You're not hearing nothing from God. Remember, prayer is communication with God. You got to be able to, you can ask, but then you got to receive what God. Here you're receiving the love of God, and it's pulling you out of this type of thing. Okay? It's getting close to the end of this one, too. About to run out of time. Okay, let's just go all the way down here to this 5490. Okay? Going all the way down to the root of this thing. And that's chasma.
Strong's G 5490. Chasma.
Chasma. Okay? And this is from a former and obsolete primitive root with CHAO to gape or yawn. In the online biblical uses, it's a gaping opening, a chasm, a gulf. That carnal mind is like a gulf of bullcrap. Oh man, it's monstrous stuff. Talk about a Goliath. All right, size of the universe. Oh crap, you got little seeds in there. And all this is inside of another big universe. Oh my goodness, of all kinds of crap. But in there's those seeds of God. Woohoo! Got to listen to that, okay? I'm going to cut her off. We'll continue in this same word. I'll get down to it. We'll get it. I'm not going to cut you short. Try my best, okay? Thank you. Love you. This has been Spiritual Toolbox number 49. Love chapter number 25. Audio recording number 367.